Hello, good morning, guten Morgen, hello, bonjour, bon dia, hola. Hello. Now, this is a short one. I was just going through the news and I saw something about Gary Lineker. Yeah, if you don't know, Gary Lineker was a football player. He was quite good. I remember when I was kid, a kid, younger. I remember him, and I used to like the way he played. I don't watch much football. That is soccer for you Americans. I don't watch much football. I always preferred to play it with my friends or my family or whatever instead of watching games. It always bored me. I prefer, you Americans are going to love this, I always preferred basketball. I like it. And I'm not a tall guy, but I played it and I played it well. Okay, I cannot say that I was a bad basketball player. I just don't have the height or the weight. But yeah, white boys can jump. And rugby. I also like rugby and martial arts. Okay, but continue on. He has always had a very um, troublesome relation with the BBC. He was now in the program that I think it's called Match of the Day, I think. Forgive me if I don't know the exact name, because this is usually what I do. I know I see a news, and if I think it's interesting, I will talk about it and give my opinion or give my, how do you say it, my 50 cents about it. But he did something. He retweeted a post with a rat in reference to Zionism. Now, if you don't know this, the traditional symbol of the representation of the Jew in anti-Semite propaganda was the rat, the spreader of diseases and of evil things. It was not different here in Portugal. Because why? Because the kings usually employed Jews as tax collectors and to do the jobs that good Christians would not want to do. It's as simple as that. When we think about these things, we have to look at the historical integration of that idea, of that concept. You cannot look, for example, you cannot analyze a writer without understanding the world that person was living in. You cannot analyze people. I know the Americans love to do that, but that's ridiculous. How can you analyze Lovecraft with a perspective of a 21st century person to someone like him? You can't. And I would not say that his opinions in that period of time were detestable to the majority of people, but those were the ideas of a large section of the population. Okay. Anyhow, he wrote great books, and I loved him, and I don't care. I love all that pulp uh, era. I love Lovecraft, Robert E. Howard, Ray Bradbury, the other author that founded the church of some shit. I don't remember the names, guy. Those guys that pay for religion. You know who I'm talking about. But I don't care about imaginary friends. Please keep them, keep them. But he retweeted that post, and even I would consider that of very poor taste. In my opinion, an apology would be sufficient. But the issue here is what is happening right now. The actions of Israel in Gaza are creating this situation. I have spoken about this but I have heard sayings, and remember, this is not me saying these things, okay? This is very important. This is why I'm not allowing remixing in my videos, so that any a person can take one of my words out of context and do something completely different that I'm not saying. But I mentioned this one. I was sitting in a cafe, having my morning coffee some Saturdays ago, and there were a couple of guys in the early 20s or whatever. One of them was Cape Verde, a dark-skinned person, half African, whatever. So they weren't skinheads, normal persons, and they were talking in what was happening and how brutal it was. They were talking about they seemed to be kids that were not that dumb. And then one of them just said something like this. It makes you think that perhaps Hitler was right, you know? And what am I, then they continue to talk, but what am I trying to tell you with this story of Mr. Lineker and the story of that I heard and what is happening in Gaza? Israel is creating a monster that will not only affect Israel, but it will affect each and every Jewish person in the world. And I, personally, I have no issues with Jewish people. I would date a Jewish woman. I would even marry a Jewish woman and have kids with her, whatever. I'm not that type of person because, first of all, Judaism for me is a religion like any other religion. It's the same as a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or an atheist or a worshiper of the spaghetti space monster. I really don't care about that. As long as a person is decent, they can keep their religious ideas for themselves, and religion even have some. So for me, Judaism is a religion and a a culture. And I have met Jewish people that were very decent people. No, normal people, absolutely normal. No different than me or you. They were not that sorry, that stereotype of the Jewish demon with the big nose and whatever. No, I even met some Jewish girls that they were quite nice. No issues from me. I'm being honest. I never had any type of issue, and I don't. I am not an anti-Semite. I could never be because it's not part of my nature. But these things are going to become more and more and more and more common. And I know that right now I think the UK is condemning the assault on Gaza. But for me, it's like a referee in the middle of a boxing bout saying, "Come on, guys, keep it down. Don't hit him. Don't do that." It's something very frail, something very weak, and without any punch. They are not saying stop this shit. No, they are saying, "Come on, guys, this is enough. Stop it." This is what they are saying. But we will we will see how this develops, and then I will talk about it. Right now, truly, I still don't know what they are actually going to do. But things like this, you cannot repress them doing what the BBC did. So this wasn't just an excuse because the BBC probably wanted to dump him, didn't want him anymore in the in the show, and this was a good excuse as any other to get rid of him. For all we know, it's even his idea. Who knows? I don't know. You don't know. But the issue here is that Israel cannot play the anti-Semite card anymore. And even Jewish people that I've seen online that talked about this, Jewish people that are not Israeli, because you also have to divide this. You cannot put all people in the same bag. If they are Zionists and they are supporting this shit, they deserve to be put in the same bag. But if these are normal people that are Jewish and that are going about their lives, they are working, they are paying their taxes, they are living. Why would you bother a person, for example? Why would I bother a Portuguese Jewish person? Why? Because he's a Jew. What's the difference? Isn't his passport a Portuguese passport? He's a Portuguese like me. And this is the same way you in the UK should act. If they are declared Zionists, then they deserve it because they are associating themselves with that movement that is doing what we know they are doing in Gaza. That the entire world knows, and no one gives a crap. And I know what some Jews will say, oh, remember what they did in Portugal. You would be their slaves, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Fuck off. We got rid of them once, we'll get rid of them again. And religions are like hassles. Everyone has one. Okay? I know you would expect something more poetic like there is one God and many men. Okay. This would be the more respectful way to tell it. But to me, it's like this. Religions are like hassles, you know, those little holes in the bottom of your back. Everyone has one. And when they talk, they usually smell. And I include the atheists in this group too, because they also piss me off. Okay, because you should not be imposing your ideas on other people or undermining people because they have religious beliefs. So to me, you are in the same bag with the same idiots. There are all kinds of zealots, my friends. All kind of zealots. If you are an atheist and you just say, "Look, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in it," all good. It's all right. But if you are saying, "Oh, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in that shit," hey, you're so stupid. I will punch you in the face, or I will feel the urge to do, but I won't do it. Of course, no. I don't break the law. I don't incite violence. I don't speak ill with someone. I don't offend anyone. That is not my way of living. I express myself. I sometimes swear like a bloody sailor, but no. I always try to behave properly and not offend people. You know, I wouldn't even offend Mr. Trump if he was in front of me. I would say that his ideas were dumb, but I wouldn't call him or wouldn't hit the man or whatever. That's ridiculous. You don't do those things. You get angry and you get mad at what people do, but anyway, this rant has went off ball. God, this is happening to me. Sometimes it's a bit hard to understand, but so he's gone. Now, is it the proper way of dealing with this? I don't know. But if we continue down this path, we will go to a country of absolute truths and absolute lies, and that is really not a place where we want to be. But I'm not British. I'm not the BBC or Gary Lineker. I'm not Jew. So I really don't care.